If you're trying to get rich, you're trying to make money online, make money with a business, or even just make enough money to quit your job, there is a reason you are unable to do so thus far. And if you're frustrated, if you're not understanding why you just can't get any traction, I'm going to fix that for you in this video. And when you understand this concept, you're going to see why the last year of your life, the last 2 years of your life has been one continuous loop. And until you break this loop, you break this cycle, it doesn't matter what method of making money you use, you will never be able to actually execute on it. So I'm going to draw this out for you right now. I want you to imagine that your journey to making money is on this line. And we'll call this the start. And we'll call this the end, or when you win. Win meaning you've won. You have made a bunch of money. You have become financially free. And heck, maybe you're even on your way to becoming rich. Now, the problem here is that everyone starts the same way. They start knowing nothing. They start with very little skills. And so these lines right here, these lines represent problems and mistakes and the things that you screw up on your way to doing it. And so you will notice that from the point of starting to the point of winning, these mistakes tend to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until they are so small that they do not prevent you from winning anymore. Meaning you make either no mistakes or you make as little mistakes as possible and you begin to make money, you begin to win, you begin to make your life exactly what you want to make of it. And so what you have to understand is this process is painful. It is a painful process. It is not easy. Every single one of these little mistakes right here sucks. It literally feels like your chest is being torn out of its cavity because you have tried, you have put in effort, and it has not paid off. Thus, you have made a mistake. And so if you zoom out on this process, which people who succeed are able to do, you will notice that the process is actually much longer. And there is a line here that has very little mistakes. This is the winning line. This is when you are actually enjoying winning. You're enjoying what you have done and what you have created. You're enjoying a business that friggin' pays you. The problem is that most people get stuck and they do one or two or maybe even three mistakes. They experience the pain and then they stop. They stop right about here and they live in this area and then they loop back and they start this process all over again with a different way to make money, a different method of growing their business, a different whatever. And the truth is, most of you are living right here. You're living in this perpetual loop. And you're not giving yourself enough time to let the mistakes get less and less, which is here. And you're certainly not giving yourself enough time to enjoy the portion of the journey where you're not making hardly any mistakes and you're just winning. And there's a psychological principle behind this, and it's called negativity bias. And negativity bias is something that humans have evolved into their brain over hundreds or thousands of years. And in the beginning, it was very useful because if we paid more attention to like a wild animal that could kill us and less attention to things that were good, like that campfire that we made, we could stay alive longer. And so human beings over time learned to, if this is your brain, we learn to put less attention on the positive, okay? Less attention here and more attention on the negative. Way, way, way more attention. And so we always think about the negative. We always think about how bad it feels to experience these mistakes and not how good it'll feel when we have ran out of mistakes to make. And it's sort of like when you learn to ski. If this is you and you're a skier and this is the slope, there's all kinds of trees and shrubs and all kinds of stuff everywhere. These are my little trees that Just pretend they're trees. And they teach you in ski school that if you look at the trees, you'll hit the trees because you go where your focus is. And so instead of looking at the trees, you look at the path. You look at the path and you stay on the path. You ignore the trees. Well, see, when we go to build a business, we encounter these mistakes. We encounter this pain. And so we focus on the pain. And when we focus on the pain, what do we want to do? We want to avoid pain because human beings are set up to avoid pain. So what we do is we repeat this beginning section of the process to winning, which is the most painful section because these are the most painful mistakes. These mistakes here, they get smaller as you go. But these mistakes here, these are the worst. And so what we're doing is we're intentionally, in our pursuit of avoiding pain and suffering, we are reliving the most painful portion of the journey of making money or whatever our goals are perpetually over and over and over and over again. And so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get out of this. I'm going to show you how to use what I call the gap graph to completely eliminate this. So first, you have to set a target. The thing is, most people do not set targets. They don't set targets because they just think, oh, I want to make money. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean I need to get my first customer and then I need to get my next 10 customers? Does that mean a certain amount of money per month? What does that mean? You have to set the goal. If you fire a missile and you don't have a target, it's just going to land in some neighborhood. That's not good. So you want to set the target. And then what you want to do is you want to find the gap. What is the gap? The gap are the skills, the knowledge, the resources that you don't have right now that you need to have to hit your target. You need to write down what are those things. So if you need to learn how to get customers, or you need to learn how to create a great product, or you need to learn how to use social media to get attention, whatever it is you need to learn, you need to write that down and go, okay, this is what is preventing me from hitting my target. So once you have discovered the gap in knowledge, the gap in resources, now what you can do is you can work on closing the gap, right? You work on closing the gap. Why? Because the only way you're going to be able to hit your target is if you close the gap on what you need to hit the target. It's very, very simple. If I were to say, hey, I'm at a shooting range and I need to hit that target that's 500 yards away. And right now I have a pistol and I figure out, oh my gosh, I can't hit it with a pistol. I need a rifle of a certain caliber. Well, now I need to know that I need to go out and get that rifle in order to hit that target. I'll never hit that target ever if I don't first discover what kind of rifle I need to hit the target. Then I go get the target. So I close the gap. Next, what you want to do is you want to try. And when you try, you are going to make, yep, that's right, mistakes. You need to accept the fact that the mistakes are part of the process. Feel the pain. Understand that that is normal. And then what you want to do is, this is the most important part of the process. You want to ask yourself, why? Why did I make that mistake? When you can answer the question why, you can close the gap even faster, which means you spend less time in this portion of the process and more time winning. And so in this process, once you are able to close the gap and you're able to make less mistakes until the point where you barely make any mistakes at all, that is when you've hit your target. And that is it. That is literally the process. You start a business, you look for a way to make money, you figure out what you're going to do, you set a target, you find out what you need to know to hit the target, you go get the things you need to do to close the gap, you make the mistakes until you can continuously ask yourself why, and then close that gap even further, thus removing most of the mistakes, and finally you will have hit your target. This is the process, but how do you actually have time to do this? Well, the truth is that you probably don't right now because you're doing things like watching Netflix. You're doing things like hanging out with friends that really aren't contributing to your life. They just want to use you as a source of dopamine to go out and have fun. You are sitting there solving small problems like, hey, I need new drapes. My drapes don't look good. Let me find better drapes. Or, hey, you know, I need new shoes because these shoes are out of style. Or some stupid problem like that that doesn't matter when you should be solving big problems, problems that will move your life forward. And if you clear out all the BS, if you stop watching TV, you stop going out drinking, you stop wasting your time with this stuff, you eventually will be able to use this process, use it quickly, and hit your target a lot faster. But if you sit around wasting time, you're not going to have time to think about what your target is. You're not going to have time to find out what the gap is. You're not going to have time to close the gap and acquire what you need to acquire to hit the goal. You're not going to have time to make the mistakes. And if in the time that you do have, you're going to skip this, you're going to skip this, you're going to skip this, and then all you're going to be left with is mistakes and trial and error. You're going to feel bad because the mistakes are going to take longer than if you did this, and then you're going to quit. And then you're going to go back up here. You're going to do this all over again, and you're going to live your life in a state of pain and suffering because you keep repeating the hardest part of the process over and over and over again, rather than doing what you can to make the process shorter, getting through it, understanding that failure is simply the data for success, and then getting to the point where you can win and enjoy winning. Now, understanding this allowed me to create multiple million-dollar companies and also save myself a lot of time. If you are struggling with the gap of not knowing what type of offer to create, you don't know what type of business to create online in order to make money, I highly recommend you check out my free course. It's in the description. It's how to create $1 million offers. I'm not saying you'll make $1 million. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is the framework that offers that end up making $1 million online all follow. So if you follow this framework, you have a higher chance of making money than if you didn't follow the framework, because this framework is something that everybody follows who has stellar, incredible products that crush it online. This is something that was figured out 30 years ago. It's just that most people don't talk about it. They just talk about stupid stuff like, I don't know, Facebook ads and social media content, and they don't actually look at how to create a great product that's easy to sell. And so that's what this course covers. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you all in the next video.